Hey guys, welcome to a new Nashville Masterclass. I am your host, James M. Bones May. And I would first like to implore you to like and subscribe before we get into today's subject, which is one of the most divisive subjects in all of recovery and addiction. And that is it safe to smoke marijuana after you've gotten clean? Now, this is a subject where people will cite research they never did on papers that were never written and will just make up lies and whatever they want to try to come out sounding right. But the reality is far more convoluted. Now, I've seen people who are able to smoke weed after they've got clean, and they smoke weed for whatever ailment they have. They don't do anything else, and this has stood the test of time. I've seen far more people completely destroy themselves again trying to pull this, because what most addicts are doing is, why they can't get high on what they want, they can at least smoke marijuana and say it's for one reason or the other. Well, eventually what always happens is they start to think, well, this is okay, but it's not what I really want. And I've been able to handle this pretty well. So I probably gotten over this whole addiction thing. And, I think I could handle taking, whatever, just a few times and keep it at that. And then, of course, they crash and burn. One thing I will say that I have seen from experience is no one should even attempt this for years after getting sober and staying sober off everything. There are so many people I know that go into recovery thinking, well, I'm still going to smoke weed. And all it is that last thread they have to their old life. They're not going to give up that. They'll give up the other stuff, but they're not going to give up that. And they'll give a litany of reasons and point out some person they heard of that was able to do it successfully. If you go into recovery with that kind of attitude, where you're going to fail, you're setting yourself up for failure. And I've also heard people emphatically say, no, you can absolutely not smoke marijuana after you gotten clean and it not destroy you, that's not true in and of itself, but it's true for most people. And it's really nothing you should try just to try. It's not something you should do just because you got bored or to test out to see if you can do it. There are real ailments that people have that marijuana is good medicine. With everything in medicine, every medicine has its negatives and positives, and you should only take something if the positives far outweigh the negatives. So you have to really think about this. And I'm going to tell you, if you're trying to smoke weed just to smoke weed, just to hold on to that last thread of your old life and doing drugs, you are going to relapse on everything. You're going to trip up and fail. It may take a couple months, may take a couple years, but it's coming. The people that I've seen do this successfully have a certain reason that they are doing this for. They're not doing it just to do it, just to see if they could do it. And this is another thing, well, the main thing that I'm pushing against in the whole recovery industry is that there's these hard and fast rules that AA and NA and rehab set up that are designed for everybody. And they say it doesn't matter what, these rules work. There is no rule, there is no law that just works for everybody 100% of the time. There are too many variables in life and with people to set hard and fast and generalized rules and expect a success rate. There is no rehab, there is no program that has a very good success rate for addiction at all, because there's these hard and fast rules that are used for generally everybody. And that doesn't work with anything, especially addiction. So when you try to come up with these rules and say, you need to abide by this, everybody needs to do this, this is a no for everybody, this is a yes for everybody, you're going to screw things up. And, that's why any rehab and any program will tell you how much success they have, but when you're in the actual program, you find out that their success rate is in the single digits, percentile-wise. They don't have a very great turnout of success because hard and fast rules don't work with addiction. It really comes on a person-to-person basis. But if you had this idea in your head from the very beginning that you're just not going to let go of this, that you are definitely going to do this or that, then you are going to fail. Because it just shows that you're still using this stubbornness and this way of thinking that has failed you over and over and over again, and you're trying to bring it with you into your new life, and it's not going to work because you're really not entering a new life. You're pretending to, while just waiting for your chance to go back to your old life. And that's really where the argument comes from, is because most people who try to smoke weed after they get clean aren't doing it because they have a certain ailment where nothing works better than this. They just want to get high, and weed is supposed to be the most minimal. But it's not about what gets you high or what's not addictive. It's the act of just getting high in and of itself. And it's going to lead you back to whatever else it was you're doing. And I don't care if you've been doing it for a few months or a year and had no problems. That's how it always happens. It works fine for a little while, and then something happens that really just pushes you towards the edge, and you're like, well, I've been able to take care of this responsibly, so I think I can do this other thing responsibly, which you cannot. So what it really comes down to are, what are your reasons? Are you doing it for an illness, for pain, and there's nothing else that's better for you? Or are you just wanting to hold on to this last thing, and you just have this idea in your head of you're no longer going to be dope sick and on the street, you're just going to smoke weed and be a success? And that's going to be what decides whether you fail or succeed. Like I said, I have seen people that have successfully done it. they smoke their weed, and that's all they do. And you know what? They don't smoke it to get high, and they don't smoke it every day, and they just use it as is. And the people who just decide they're going to smoke because they've got nothing better to do, they are going to end up relapsing. And anybody that pretends to know indefinitely, no matter what, no matter who, without meeting this person, without knowing anything about them, that yes they can or no they can't, is a fool. And these people will say it with a smirk on their face. Anybody that gives you that look before they say something to you, they don't have any clue what they're talking about. That's where that smirk comes from. And there are many a smirk in the recovery community, because everybody thinks they have the definitive answers when nobody does. None of us do. No one ever has. And also, addiction and drugs are in flux. Whereas thousands of years, there were just so many plants that could get you high. Now we can make things in a laboratory, and all sorts of recreational and new recreational drugs are coming out, and research chemicals. So everything is changing, and everything will continue to change. And that's how you should approach everything in recovery and addiction, is that the rules are constantly changing. And if you want to succeed at anything in life, if you want to succeed in, becoming sober, if you want to succeed in living, you have to learn how to adapt to changes quickly and understand that everybody is different. But if you go into this thinking that you're going to be one of the ones that can do this or that, well, you're already setting yourself up for failure, because you don't know. And you won't know for years, and even then, it's still kind of it's a toss-up. You just don't know. So I hope this has been informative, just enough to let you know that it can be done. It's not something that is what I recommend to people to try out. It's nothing I say, yes, yeah, of course you can do it 100%. No, I just say I've seen people that can do it. Mostly I've seen people crash and burn, and that's been my experience. So learn from that. Think of that. If you're going into recovery with this thought in your head that you're just going to be able to do this, well, you're going to fail already, just because you've already trying to control what's going to happen in the future when you don't even know how to live your life today. And well, that's my 2 cents on the subject. I hope you guys have a good one. I hope you guys liked and subscribed, because I'm writing down names, and if you didn't, I'm going to come to your house. See you later, guys.